On this episode of O'Fallon Matters, learn how our police department trains for crisis interventions. See what road projects are coming up in the new year. Finally, learn how an AED can save lives in emergency situations. All this and more next on O'Fallon Matters. Welcome to O'Fallon Matters. As O'Fallon continues to grow, the city's parks must keep the pace. And now we want your help. The city is seeking community input on what direction to take our parks over the next decade and beyond. Here's more on the O'Fallon Parks Master Plan. No matter how you need to get out, get moving, or just be one with nature, O'Fallon has the park for you. But as the city grows, where do O'Fallon parks go from here? Well, that's where you come in.
We haven't done a master plan since 2010, and really what our role is in the community is just to provide recreational opportunities for everyone of all ages, of all interests. That's really what we're trying to do. And so with this process, it allows us to reach out to the community, those that we serve, and even more importantly, those that we don't serve, to try to find what their interest is, what their recreational opportunities are, and be able to provide that to them. I think this process is really important. It gives people an opportunity to be a part of what we can provide for them.
It's a multifaceted plan, using community and expert feedback to guide each next step in the process.
It's really a four-phase thing. The first phase is really the collection of the data, trying to get information from the community in certain ways. The second is really to take that data and analyze it, try to find out what our needs are, really where we should move forward in. Then it's really a process of developing the plan, a lot of community input to try to refine that plan a little bit. And then from that, you get the final product of the master plan.
While an open invitation to get out and play in our parks has always been there for our citizens, the city wants to make sure its residents are getting the most out of their parks.
Programming is really important, just being able to provide the types of programming for the different demographics that we're serving. We're looking at parks and how they're being used and whether we can make changes to those parks so that they can be better used, better quality for the community. And then really just try to find out the aspects that are important to people and again, how they can recreate and use us for their benefit.
And that's why your input is imperative to this mission to improve our parks. In 2022, the city will host community input sessions to discuss potential needs and developments.
We're asking people to come and give us their points of view, what's important to them, options, opinions that they have. So we have quite a few opportunities to participate in some of these open houses. And we're going to work through this probably through the spring and probably through the summer. So we're looking at a target date of somewhere around October of 2022. Our role is really pretty simple. It's trying to find out what the community wants, how we can serve them for their recreational needs, and then be able to provide that. And this is our opportunity to reach out and say, what do you need? What can we do for you? And then it's our chance to be able to do that for them. All right.
The O'Fallon Police Department recently participated in a life-saving training program. Kim Doan has the story.
Dealing with individuals with mental health issues is a major concern for our police officers. Knowing how to respond to a mental health crisis is vital to the safety of everyone involved. The Crisis Intervention Team, the CIT program, teaches our law enforcement officers how to respond appropriately to a mental health crisis.
Do you really think you can help me?
Absolutely, okay?
I can get you help today, okay? But we got to keep this at a conversation between you and myself right now, okay?
Crisis Intervention Team Program is a program that is implemented in collaboration with our mental health organizations, hospital organizations, and intellectual disability organizations to help train law enforcement officers in a 40-hour training program on how to respond effectively to individuals who are in a mental health crisis. So the calls that they get for individuals that are suicidal, or someone that has already attempted suicide, or someone that's maybe not taking medications and acting strangely, we teach those officers how to respond effectively and get those individuals connected to services. So some of the things that they learn is they learn about autism, they learn about intellectual disabilities, they also learn about the major mental health disorders that a lot of our population live with, like bipolar, schizophrenia, borderline personality disorder. We also cover substance use because that is, kind of co-occurring with individuals who live with mental health concerns. And then we focus a lot on de-escalation. We cover about 4 hours of de-escalation and all the training courses to help them more effectively respond to those calls.
Kevin, can you talk to me? What's going on today?
I'm gonna die! You can kill me! You can kill me!
Kevin, can I get you some help? Sir, can you walk around? Sir, can you back up?
We've been part of the Great River CIT Council since 2007 when it started. We've had a position at the head of the council now for 5 years since I've been the chairman, so we're very involved. I've seen this firsthand, both as a parent and as a supervisor for our police department and as the chairman. I know firsthand that it has made a huge difference in the lives of people living with mental illness, and I know this by talking not only to them, but to their parents, their support persons, and they are thankful that we have officers that are trained in this.
I've seen this program work for many years. Before I retired and came here to the Eastern Missouri Police Academy, had been a patrol supervisor and commander, and the vast majority of my personnel were trained. It's a pretty intensive course. They learn a variety of things from different instructors. They do role plays where they actually talk to people that are in a variety of crisis situations. So it's a very intense school.
I think it's important that individuals in our community know that there's law enforcement out there that have 40 hours of training and just dealing with individuals who live with mental health concerns. In law enforcement, there is no other program that we train for 40 hours to deal with any other population. Also, every one of the officers that go through the CIT program, we have a statewide CIT pin that they wear that looks like this. It's a lot smaller, but it looks like that. And they wear it on their uniform to kind of help signify to the community that they have been through CIT training. So what I would like to encourage is individuals that if they have a loved one who is in crisis, or they have a loved one that they think needs mental health services, if they get the police department involved, to call and ask for a crisis intervention team officer or a CIT officer.
Now that winter is in full swing, let's check in with our engineering team and see what our crews are doing to improve your commute.
Now that the year is wrapped up, it doesn't mean the end of developments in O'Fallon. City staff continue to work on improvement projects throughout our community, and motorists will soon see the benefits of these important infrastructure upgrades. Now, let's check in with Assistant City Engineer Tony Friedman for an update.
Well, the Highway DD project is something that we're very excited about here at the City of O'Fallon. It's a project in conjunction with the St. Charles County and MoDOT and the City of O'Fallon and a developer in the area. It's going to bring a lot of new changes to the Highway DD corridor, many of which will benefit our residents. We're going to be signalizing the intersection between Caledonia Parkway, which is a new roadway that was just constructed, and Highway DD. And then we're going to be putting a roundabout in at the intersection of Dalriada Boulevard, which is another roadway that's going to be constructed as part of the Caledonia development. We're going to be widening Highway DD so that more traffic can get through the area more efficiently. We're going to be adding in some pedestrian infrastructure and a whole host of other benefits for the residents. The main focus of each of these projects is going to be removing the existing surface of both Mexico and Winghaven Boulevard and replacing it with a new fresh asphalt super pave surface. So it's a little bit more durable. It's intended to last, I think, about 25 to 30 years. Provide a smoother surface from some of the existing deficiencies that are in the existing pavement. So it'll be brand new. We're also going to be updating sidewalks. We're going to be updating curb ramps. We're going to be installing new storm sewer infrastructure to help with some of the existing water ponding issues along both of those roads. So all in all, once we're done with those two of the major thoroughfares in the city of O'Fallon, we'll both have brand new facelifts and serve our residents at a much better capacity. Bramblett Road Phase 1 is a project that we just completed in May. Effectively what we did was we took a roadway that was 2 lanes, that was very narrow. It had ditches on both sides that dropped off quite significantly right off the road. And we widened the road, we've given it 2-foot shoulders. We have put a 10-foot wide shared use path along one side and a nice new concrete sidewalk along the other. We've improved drainage conditions. It drives a lot nicer, it rides a lot nicer. It's just a much nicer road through a major area in the city of O'Fallon. If you've ever been by Schnucks on Highway K, Bramblett Road is the one that runs right parallel to that. Both Planet Fitness and a new restaurant called Drake's will be going in right at the corner there of Bramblett and Highway K. Very excited about both of those developments. Another project that we just completed, I believe back in March, was the West Elm extension and realignment of the intersection with Main Street. So West Elm runs perpendicular to Main Street. So throughout that project, we have kind of redistributed to where it flows a lot more nicely. We've given some new pavement, we made some ADA upgrades, and it's all part of the initial project for us to take Main Street to a whole nother level in the future. And we're doing that through future phases as well.
Keep up to date on future road improvement projects by visiting OFallon.mo.us or continue to watch future episodes of O'Fallon Matters for the latest information.
When paired with good quality chest compressions, an AED improves a patient's chance of surviving a cardiac arrest. Check out this next story to learn how and when to use an AED.
According to OSHA, chances of survival from sudden cardiac death diminish by 7 to 10% for each minute without immediate CPR. After 10 minutes, resuscitation rarely succeeds. Today on O'Fallon Matters, St. Charles County Ambulance District Director of Community Relations, Kyle Gaines, is here to teach us all about AEDs.
AED stands for Automated External Defibrillator, and what that is a machine with a computer inside that, when paired with good quality CPR, can dramatically increase a patient's chance of survival of a cardiac arrest. What that machine does is it analyzes the electrical activity of the heart, and if that victim of cardiac arrest has an abnormal heart rhythm, it can fix that rhythm with a shock. AEDs are safe, they are effective, they are incredibly easy to use. If you know you're in a facility where there is an AED present, send somebody to go get that AED and use it whenever it becomes available. Just pause your chest compressions or turn them over to someone else who's comfortable doing so, and then integrate that AED into the process. A big thing that can help in the event of a cardiac arrest is simply being mindful of where the AEDs are in locations that you go on a regular basis. They can be found in gyms, at swimming pools, in municipal buildings, at movie theaters, at shopping destinations, all over our community. You will see that there is a set of adult pads as well as a set of pediatric pads there in the AED case. Those pediatric pads are generally meant to be used for a child about 8 years of age or under. We want to make sure that if the victim is a child, we use those pediatric pads, but it's also important to know that if there are no pediatric pads present and it is a child victim, you can use adult pads on a child or an infant. The big thing to keep in mind there is if you are using the larger pads, they simply cannot overlap on the child's chest. If we're talking a very small child, we would just put one pad on the child's chest and then roll that child over and put the other one on their back. Sometimes business owners will approach us and ask if there's some kind of a program that's available that they could get their employees familiar with the CPR process, with how to use an AED and things of that nature. And yes, the Ambulance District does offer a program that can assist with that. It's called our Lifesaver CPR for Business program. It is completely free to any business in St. Charles County. You don't need a card in your wallet to be able to help somebody in the event of a cardiac arrest. You just simply need to know how to check, call, compress, and how to use that AED if one's available to you. And again, we will come out and provide all of those tools, help people practice with it. It's generally about a 30 to 40 minute class, and again, is available at no cost to businesses in St. Charles County.
If you would like to learn more about AEDs or other life-saving information, please contact the St. Charles County Ambulance District at www.sccad.com.
The ability to protect yourself in a dangerous encounter with a violent subject is vital for any police officer. And that's why the O'Fallon PD recently opened a new defensive tactics room to train our officers in advanced techniques. Here is the story.
In police forces across America, use of force has always been a critical concern. While officers are highly trained in the use of pepper spray, tasers, and firearms, the reality of modern police work is that most incidents involve hands-on use of force. Statistics show that the lower an officer's skill level, the higher the chance an officer will panic and use more force than necessary, or freeze and use less. In order to offer advanced hand-to-hand training to officers, the O'Fallon Police Department has constructed a purpose-built 2,000 square foot training area in consultation with defensive tactics experts and external martial artists.
Our purpose for this room and designing it the way that we did was to give us as many options in the future as possible. So the size of this room is such that if we wanted to bring in any professional trainer, this room is large enough to allow them to come here. There are minimum size requirements to bring those types of classes to any facility, and we exceed that here. So there is pretty much any possible training we want or we would like to bring here to teach our officers. This room can receive that. The intent of this room is to be used anytime, on duty, off duty. If anytime we can get somebody in here to get some hands-on training and get that time in is what we wanted to have available. And that's the other purpose of this room, is this is always open to us.
This state-of-the-art facility is being paired with world-class training programs to give officers the skills and experience necessary to effectively control resisting subjects.
The reality of what we deal with are people that are having overdoses, and they're not necessarily trying to fight you. They don't want to go in handcuffs, and they don't want to allow you to have voluntary compliance. And our previous styles really don't have anything to actually deal with the reality of what we do out here. We want to put officers in positions where not only they can become dominant, but if they're put on the ground and they're stuck in a defensive position, they're able to fight effectively in any position. You're familiar and comfortable with the position and how to fight out of it. You become more effective overall. Stress is reduced and officer-involved injuries and suspect injuries decrease.
And this facility was also made possible thanks to the funds raised by O'Fallon's use tax. This is another example of how the O'Fallon Police Department and the City of O'Fallon are ahead of the curve when it comes to training and providing the best possible service to our citizens.
They funded us with this room, with training, with equipment, because they expect us to be at a higher level. And we're going to meet that higher level by being trained in verbal and physical skills, but with dealing with the 80% of the reality of what we do out here. And that's the overall purpose of this program, is to serve the citizens of the city better.
I'm trying to fall back down, right? And then I pulled myself right into a guard because I didn't land that other leg first with keeping pressure down.
Thanks for joining us today. If you have a good story idea, please let us know. Email us at OFallonTV at ofallon.mo.us. And remember that O'Fallon matters.